The silence from Maranello is deafening. Behind the gates of the most legendary team in racing, a high-stakes gamble is underway. A move so daring it could either redefine a dynasty or consign them to the history books for good. For over a year, the red cars have been chasing ghosts, their every effort to close the gap on their rivals ending in frustration. The championship is already gone. The race is for something far more valuable. The team's visionary leader has made a brutal call, one that sacrifices this season, abandoning his star drivers to the wolves in a desperate bid to dominate the next. A clean slate has been drawn. The engineers have been unleashed. They have thrown out the rule book and are betting everything on a single, audacious philosophy. What is the price of a championship? For Ferrari, it's a season of pain, the hopes of two of the world's greatest drivers, and a risk that could shatter a legacy. The 2026 car is no longer a dream, it's a terrifying reality, a machine 70% complete, a testament to a belief so powerful it has consumed them completely. The question isn't whether they can win. The question is, will this bold gamble pay off, or will it be the moment the prancing horse finally stumbles? Welcome to the Ferrari Gamble. This is Front Lockout. Chapter 1. The SF25's limitations and the pivot to 2026. Ferrari's decision to halt SF25 development comes after facing the tough reality that, despite Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton's efforts, closing the gap to McLaren is impossible this season. As team principal Frederic Vasseur bluntly said, McLaren is on another planet, making any title hopes unrealistic. The staggering points deficit fundamentally alters the strategic calculus, and under the budget cap, every dollar is a finite resource. Continuing to spend on a car with zero chance of winning a championship is an economically irrational choice. The return on investment for marginal gains on a non-title contending car is effectively zero. Therefore, the pivot is not a bold choice. It is a forced strategic retreat dictated by the new financial realities of the sport. The team is no longer competing for the 2025 championship. They are merely defending their P2 position against a resurgent Mercedes and a developing Red Bull. The SF25 on-track struggles are not merely a result of poor execution or bad luck. They are indicative of fundamental design limitations. The car suffers from poor low speed, cornering, and a lack of rear-end stability. These weaknesses were particularly exposed at the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, a circuit where the car's setup was extremely unloaded. Despite a recent suspension update intended to improve ride height performance, the car continued to struggle, highlighting that the issues were deeper than component tweaks. Lewis Hamilton's feedback about the car being on a knife edge and his difficulty with understeer further corroborates these inherent flaws. Chapter 2. The Brawn GP effect and Lewis Hamilton's input. Fred Vasseur has repeatedly referenced the 2009 season and the Brawn GP fairy tale as a model for what to expect from the 2026 regulation change. Brawn GP, operating on a minuscule budget, correctly interpreted the new rules and gained a significant advantage with its double diffuser loophole. This led to a surprise championship victory. Similarly, the 2014 turbo hybrid era saw Mercedes establish a decade of dominance, and the 2022 ground effect regulations cemented Red Bull's recent reign. The 2026 regulations, a complete overhaul across engines, chassis, and aerodynamics, present an identical opportunity. Lewis Hamilton's role at Ferrari goes beyond racing the current car. He has been providing documented feedback to the team about the 2026 Challenger. His input focuses on critical areas like steering, brake pedals, and, most notably, a desire for more rear-end stability. This feedback directly aligns with Loic Serra's vision for a more consistent and adaptable car. Hamilton is a key consultant in the design process, and his feedback on rear stability directly addresses a core weakness of the current car. By integrating his and Charles Leclerc's feedback into the 2026 car from its earliest stages, Ferrari is attempting to build a platform that suits the two world-class drivers they have, a strategic advantage in a sport where driver feedback is critical for optimizing a car's performance. Chapter 3. A technical and competitive overhaul. The strategic pivot is intrinsically linked to the influence of Loic Serra, who joined Ferrari from Mercedes as the new technical director. Serra's background is in vehicle dynamics, suspension systems, and performance, areas Ferrari has notoriously struggled with. His philosophy is to create a car that is consistent, predictable, and adaptable across all conditions, rectifying the SF25's narrow setup window and stability issues. Ferrari's traditional strength has been in pure aerodynamics, but this has often come at the expense of mechanical stability and a wide operating window. The appointment of Serra and the fact that the 2026 car's chassis and suspension have been locked in under his guidance signal a fundamental philosophical shift. The team is now prioritizing a robust, predictable platform, Serra's specialty, upon which the aerodynamic package will be built. This is a direct attempt to solve the deep-rooted problems that have plagued the team for years. Reports indicate the 2026 Challenger is approximately 70% complete, a significant head start on many rivals. The chassis and suspension layouts are already finalized, and the focus is now on aerodynamic development, which will continue until November. This early commitment to a core design concept is a bold move that can provide a substantial developmental advantage if the team's interpretation of the regulations is correct. Chapter 4. The race for a head start. McLaren, as a dominant customer team, has a different strategic challenge. They rely on Mercedes for their power unit and have a strong in-house aero program. Their success is built on an impeccable understanding of the current regulations, particularly in areas like tyre management and cooling tricks. As a customer team, McLaren cannot perfectly integrate its chassis and engine design in the same way a works team can. While they are masters of optimization within the current rule set, the 2026 rule set will likely reset their advantage. The new regulations make the seamless integration of the power unit and chassis more critical than ever, which is a key advantage for works teams. Ferrari's works team status and early focus on a holistic design could give them an unassailable head start over McLaren, whose success relies on its engine supplier's progress. Red Bull faces a unique dual challenge: the departure of design guru Adrian Newey to Aston Martin and the monumental task of developing their first ever in-house power unit with Ford. Team boss Laurent Mekies has openly acknowledged this as a Mount Everest to climb and a crazy undertaking. Adrian Newey's genius was in interpreting new regulations to create dominant cars. His departure is a massive strategic blow, leaving Red Bull without its key creative force for the 2026 rules. Combined with the immense and unpredictable challenge of developing a new power unit, Red Bull is arguably the most vulnerable of the top teams. This creates a clear window of opportunity for Ferrari and is a key factor in their decision to go all in on 2026. Mercedes, a fellow works team with a deep history of success in the hybrid era, is taking a meticulous approach. They are packaging their new power unit into a more compact chassis and have a new technical leadership structure in place. Mercedes has a proven track record of getting new regulations right and building a dominant car. Their strategy is likely one of careful, methodical development, leveraging their extensive institutional knowledge. Their struggle with the 2022 ground effect regulation serves as a cautionary tale. Past success is no guarantee of future dominance when the rulebook changes. Chapter 5. Strategic Risk and Reward. The potential rewards of Ferrari's gamble are immense. By having a massive head start on development and a committed technical philosophy under Serra, Ferrari could arrive in 2026 with a concept so superior that rivals cannot catch up for years. The pivot allows Ferrari to completely abandon the design philosophy of the SF25 and its prix, which were plagued by a narrow operating window and poor stability. If successful, this strategy could end their championship drought and establish a new era of Ferrari dominance, similar to what Mercedes and Red Bull have enjoyed. The risks, however, are just as significant. The biggest danger is committing to a design that proves to be suboptimal or fundamentally flawed. The rules are still being refined by the FIA, and a miscalculation could be disastrous. By ceasing development on the SF25, Ferrari will stop gathering valuable real-world data on a current gen car, potentially falling behind rivals who continue to learn about tyre behavior and setup optimization for the remainder of the season. Lastly, finishing the 2025 season without any new components could negatively impact team morale, especially as rivals continue to introduce updates and fight for podiums. For the remainder of the 2025 season, Ferrari's performance will likely plateau. The team will focus on data collection and optimization of its existing package, aiming to secure second place in the constructors' standings. The true test of this strategy will not come until the first pre-season test of 2026, where the world will get its first glimpse of the 70% complete challenger. The outcome will either be a triumphant return to the top or a long and painful journey to close the gap on a new competitive order.